It's on its way? Great.
Dean, I told our customer Macabre chili sauce would be there yesterday.
It's worth waiting for.
Macabre's? Are you sure it's on its way? I can't stand being with him another second.
No matter how far I move away, I gotta have my Macabre's chili sauce. Are you ready for the great taste and obsession that Macabre's chili sauce delivers?
He can't get enough of Macabre's chili sauce.
Feed your obsession at Macabre's on Hamburg Turnpike in Wayne.
Higgins, if our business is going to benefit from the internet, we've got to find a secure and reliable home for our website.
Webbit.
You're right. With Webbit, we'll get the same level of service, reliability, and security FSI Webs has been providing established businesses for years. And we'll get all of this for a price our company can afford.
Webbit.
Great idea, Higgins.
Thank you, boss.
Smart fraud, smart choice. Webbit offers hosting plans starting at $24.95 a month. So visit our website at webbit.fsiwebs.com today. Webbit!
It has arrived.
National Wholesale Liquidators. New York's #1 closeout department store is opening Tuesday, November 16th with 110,000 square feet of deep discounted merchandise. You'll find every brand name, every household need, all under one roof, all at incredible prices. Experience the excitement of complete one-stop shopping at NWL. Save money, save time, and have fun. It's the grand opening of National Wholesale Liquidators of West Babylon. Tuesday, November 16th at 895 Montauk Highway in the former Caldor location.
I'd rather be helping people, not just serving them.
Well, that's why I'm going back to school at Passaic County Community College to earn my degree in the medical field. Getting higher education is closer than ever. Passaic County Community College has state-of-the-art facilities and training in respiratory therapy, radiography, nursing, and health information technology. Passaic County Community College, nothing so near can take you so far. Find out more, call 973-684-6868.
I had an interesting experience when David used alcohol when he was 14 years old. It was the first time we'd left him home, but he was such a good kid, you know, and he never was in any trouble, good student, everything was wonderful. So when we came home, there was a panicked phone call to us from a woman we didn't know, and she said, "Your son is unconscious on the road in front of my house. Can you come? You know, you have to come." And so we got in the car and we raced over there, and it was 8 o'clock, so it was dark, and David was indeed unconscious in the middle of this road, side street, and the woman's husband was supporting his head, and David, in an unconscious state, was vomiting out of the side of his mouth. And just seeing him completely limp, unconscious, with his eyes rolled up in his head, I thought he was dead. And there were all these kids, his age, his friends, some of them I knew, standing around. They didn't know what to do. And what had happened was that he had just drunk himself into a complete stupor. When we saw him laying in the emergency room, they had an IV started. He was totally unconscious, and they said he might have brain damage. They weren't sure. And then they took the blood alcohol levels, and they said it's extremely high and very dangerous. And we don't really know if he's going to pull through. And when you see your child laying there, and you cannot believe it's happening. They ended up transferring him up to the intensive care unit, and we were waiting and, you know, praying and hoping that everything was going to be all right, and not really knowing. And they said probably they wouldn't know until morning. And it was a very long night. And then finally they said we could visit him in the ICU. And when I walked in, there was David, and he said, "Hi, Mom." And I couldn't believe it, that he was awake and aware and fine. And he had pulled through. And so we talked a lot about what had gone on, and he told me what had happened and so on. And that by the next morning, I had decided, I got myself on a crusade. I was going to save my town, one kid at a time. And this kid, who actually was the one who had called me, called our house, I went to him, browbeat him, and I said, "Give me a list of the kids that were at that party. Their parents need to know."
The first real experience I had with drugs was alcohol. I went to a party that my friends and I set up, and I ended up drinking too much. I actually passed out, blacked out, went into a coma. woke up the next morning in a hospital room, and that was my first real experience with any drug.
So he gave me a list under duress. He gave me a list of 15 or 20 kids' names and their phone numbers. And I proceeded to come home, having been up all night, and I started dialing down that list. And it absolutely stunned me that the vast majority of those parents were furious with me, that I dared to call them and say that their son had been involved in a beer bust. They all denied it. I had no reason to lie to them. My son was in the hospital. I told them this, and yet they still didn't believe. It's amazing to me that people have such blinders on. They don't want to hear what is the truth about their kids.
I started using when I was about 14 or 15 years old. I started with drinking. And that was like freshman year of high school. A little bit towards the end of my freshman year of high school, I started to smoke pot. And starting my sophomore year, I transferred high schools and went into a new high school. From there, I found it was a good way to meet people.
If there's a difference in the child's personality, that is the first sign. Child comes home and is really ornery. I mean, all teenagers have their moods, but this is a mood that doesn't go away. If you see them, number one, slipping in school, changing their friends, having new and different behaviors, be aware. Something is different, something is wrong. Now, you can't really attack them. What you really want to do is be vigilant. It's okay to search a child's room if you don't believe what they're telling you the truth. It's okay to set limits for your child. So be aware of the signs of change, differences.
School was never a problem. I've been enlightened at what I am so I could figure out how I was able to function. I'm a functioning alcoholic and drug addict. And that's why I was able to still go to class, maintain the grades I did. I was carrying 18+ credits, held down a job, a social life, maintained a family, and my GPA at the time was fluctuated between 3.4 and 3.6 on a 4.0 scale. Never had any problems, always got my assignments in on time. Reality came on April 22nd for me when I was helping out and making one last drug deal for him. I very rarely did it. I did it 5 times to be exact, set up deals for him. And I had in my possession a 1/4 pound of marijuana and was planning on selling it to this guy who I thought had become a friend. His name is Jake. And I had my best girlfriend in the car with me at the time. It actually wasn't even a car, it was my friend's truck. And I picked her up from the laundromat and said, I gotta go do this errand real quick. Do you want to stay here or do you want to come with me? She's like, no, I'll come with you. I didn't even tell her what was going on. I mean, I had no respect for what might happen to her because I didn't think anything would happen to me. This was just a routine drop-off. I mean, I hand him the pot, he hands me the money, I go my way, he goes his way. We never shared anything, we never smoked together, we never did anything together except exchange money and exchange drugs. And it was about 8 o'clock at night, maybe a little bit earlier than that, and I'm sitting in a gas station parking lot, and he approaches the truck, and I roll down the window, exchange a few words. I said to him, do you have the money? He said, do you have the pot? I handed him the pot, he handed me the money, and all of a sudden the truck was just surrounded